Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Canal Algérie's nightly news. On to the headlines. The President of the Republic of Zimbabwe leaves Algiers after a two-day state visit, which served to underscore the shared political will to develop bilateral relations and culminated in the signing of multiple cooperation agreements and memoranda of understanding. June 2025 baccalaureate results announced nationwide, and the student Rawnaq Zani tops with 19.70 average as success rate reaches 51.57%. Bank of Algeria launches the highly awaited foreign currency allocation for Algerians traveling abroad. Also in our news, an international conference organized by the National Beef Party, which aims to amplify the voice of a people seeking recognition. Welcome back. First off, the strengthening of relations between Algiers and Harare was on the agenda of the Zimbabwean leader's visit to Algeria, both politically and economically. This was an opportunity to underscore the shared political will to develop these relations, culminating in the signing of cooperation agreements and memoranda of understanding in vital areas. This is a valuable step forward that strengthens bilateral cooperation. Lania Al-Bahri kicks us off tonight.
Algeria and Zimbabwe are giving new momentum to their cooperation. With a shared history of struggle, the two countries are now strengthening their partnership in key areas such as trade, industry, investment, training, higher education, tourism, and archives. This move reflects their mutual commitment to development and the defense of just causes across Africa. During the Zimbabwean president's visit to Algiers, several agreements were signed, deepening bilateral ties and opening up new opportunities for collaboration. President Abdelmajid Tebboune said that both countries had agreed to create a joint business council and to encourage economic operators to explore investment opportunities in each other's countries. From the Zimbabwean side, the president described Algeria as a true friend and sincere partner, noting that Zimbabwe seeks cooperation with nations that share its values and ambitions. Both leaders emphasized their shared stance on major regional and international issues. They reject foreign interference, promote peaceful solutions to conflicts, and support just causes around the world. President Tebboune reiterated Algeria's strong condemnation of the genocide and crimes against the Palestinian people and reaffirmed support for their legitimate right to establish an independent state. He also expressed continued backing for the Sahrawi people, describing their cause as a decolonization issue. The Zimbabwean president echoed this, saying that Zimbabwe remains firmly supportive of the Sahrawi people's right to self-determination. He also voiced concern over the situation in Gaza, calling for peaceful dialogue and emphasizing Zimbabwe's responsibility in the face of human suffering. Together, Algeria and Zimbabwe reaffirmed their commitment to a strategic partnership based on solidarity, sovereignty, and the sustainable development of Africa.
And as part of his visit to Algeria, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe visited the Abdelhafid Haddaden Scientific and Technological Hub in Sidi Abdullah on Sunday. He toured the space dedicated to showcasing key scientific and technological research projects in the field of artificial intelligence, presented by university-affiliated research centers. Promising scientific projects developed by students from various universities across the country were also displayed. The president received detailed explanations about the innovations on exhibit. During the visit, he met with several Zimbabwean students studying in Algeria and praised the high level of education and training offered by Algerian universities.
The scholarship program between our two countries has played a pivotal role in the development of our human capital back home. By expanding our cooperation in areas such as science, technology, engineering, medicine, STEM, and more recently the emerging cutting energy disciplines such as cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, and nanotechnology, we have bolstered Zimbabwe's human capital base. We are grateful for this generous support and solidarity, particularly the recent decision to increase the number of scholarships. Algeria has always been a strong, reliable friend of Zimbabwe.
The president of Zimbabwe also visited the headquarters of the agricultural equipment and machinery marketing company in Al-Harraj, accompanied by the Minister of Higher Education and Scientific Research, Canal. The Zimbabwean president attended a presentation on the products offered by the public company specialized in manufacturing and marketing agricultural equipment and machinery, which operates under the state-owned economic group AGM. He was given detailed explanations about the K-farming equipment, tools, and locally manufactured production materials. The president of Zimbabwe, Emerson Mnangagwa, also visited Saidal, the national pharmaceutical company, accompanied by the Minister of Pharmaceutical Industries and the Minister of Higher Education and Scientific Research. During his visit, he inspected the production lines at the facility, specialized in the manufacturing of generic medicines, and received explanations about capsules designed for patients with diabetes, kidney failure, and allergies, which meet the needs of the national market. This facility produces 30 products, including specialized anti-cancer medications. The Zimbabwean president expressed his admiration for Algeria's pharmaceutical industry. Let's have a listen.
I'm very happy that they've afforded me and my delegation to see this facility. And then it's easy for us as Zimbabwe to cooperate, because now we know that we are cooperating with some people who actually have the things we need. I believe that there's lots of room for us to cooperate. We're a developing country, they're ahead of us, so we don't need to invent the wheel. We need just to acquire with our partners.
And with this, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Emerson Mnangagwa, concluded his official visit to Algeria. Upon his departure from the Houari Boumediene International Airport, he was seen off by the Speaker of the Council of the Nation, Azouz Nasri. In other news, in his capacity as a representative of the President of the Republic, the Minister of War Veterans and Rights Holders, Laider Biga, participated in the celebration of the 46th anniversary of the victory of the Sandinista Revolution that took place on Saturday in the capital of Nicaragua, Managua. The ceremony was organized under the supervision of the President of the Republic of Nicaragua, Daniel Ortega, and in the presence of several representatives of state and governments. On the occasion, Minister Biga met with the President Ortega, to whom he conveyed the greetings and wishes of the President of the Republic to the President, leaders, and people of Nicaragua, recalling the depth of the historical relations between both countries, which date back to the period of the Liberation War. The group Sonatrach signed a memorandum of understanding with the Chinese company Sinopec, aimed at establishing a framework for cooperation between the two parties in anticipation of signing one or more hydrocarbon contracts related to areas of interest located in Gurara and eastern Birkin basins. On the Algerian side, the agreement was signed by the Vice President in charge of business development and marketing, and the Chairman and CEO of the Chinese group Sinopec on the other side. Sunday's news also include the much-anticipated announcement of the results of the June 2025 baccalaureate exam. According to the Minister of National Education, Mohamed Saghir Saadawi, the national success rate among enrolled students reached 51.57%. Over 24,700 people scored an average above 16 out of 20, and 1,754 candidates earned the distinction of excellent. The top performer this year was Rawnaq Zani from Soqahras, who achieved an impressive average of 19.70 the electrical engineering stream.
A total of 367,122 new baccalaureate graduates were recorded. Among them, 24,732 scored above 16 out of 20, including 1,754 who received an excellent mention, 1,700 school students and 54 independent. Around 22,978 students had averages between 16 and 17.99.
Still with the same context, students from the nation's cadet schools at the secondary level achieved outstanding results, with 1,129 cadets earning their baccalaureate, representing a success rate of 98.16%. Notably, the mathematics stream that recorded a 100% pass rate, and the female cadets who also recorded a perfect 100% success rate. These exceptional results reflect the strategic importance that the High Command of the PNA attaches to the cadet schools. They also underscore the academic excellence, discipline, and the unwavering commitment of the teaching staff and leadership who work with tireless dedication to meet the school's high standards. On this occasion, Army General Said Shingriha, Minister Delegate to the Minister of National Defense and Chief of Staff of the PNA, extended his congratulations to all graduates and staff who contributed to these distinguished achievements, wishing them continued success and personal growth. The long-awaited measure introducing a new travel allowance for the Algerian travelers abroad was officially launched this Sunday by the Bank of Algiers. The new foreign currency allocation is set at €750 for adults and €300 for minors, in line with the decision made by the President of the Republic. Najah Tayyar explains.
The new foreign exchange regulation for travel abroad is officially in effect, and to benefit from it, the travelers must plan a stay longer than 7 days. Under this measure, the adult travelers are entitled to €750, while the minors will receive €300. For me, it's an advantage because it allows me to benefit from it and manage things better, especially with those €750. I can travel more easily and at a lower cost. Having those €750 truly helps. It really makes a big difference. I've heard about this allowance, and it won't necessarily benefit everyone, large families, for example. Among the required documents to access this allowance are a transportation ticket, a valid passport, and, if applicable, a valid visa. Citizens can go to branches of the Bank of Algiers or public banks to make their deposit no later than 3 days before their departure date. The allocation will be granted at border posts. There are 13 land crossings where citizens can receive their exchange entitlement, in addition to airports and seaports, making a total of 37 border posts.
Un total de 37 postes frontaliers.
6 public commercial banks are participating in this operation through all their branches nationwide. These include BNA, Badr, Canal Bank, BA, BDL, and CPA. The list remains provisional, as more banking institutions are expected to join the system in the near future.
That was the story of both Walid Yousfi and Najah Tayyar. In other news, the High Authority for Transparency, Prevention and Fight Against Corruption held a study day in Algiers on the theme Asset Recovery in Africa. The event took place in the presence of the Minister of Justice, the Secretary of State in charge of African Affairs, and the Minister of Youth. In her opening remarks, the authority's President Selima Mousserati highlighted Algiers' ongoing commitment to fighting corruption and promoting transparency, integrity, and good governance, key priorities of the President of the Republic. The Minister of Justice, for his part, stressed the need for African countries to unite efforts and enhance coordination in building strong, transparent institutions. The Rif National Party held an international conference to highlight the Rif people's quest for recognition, with participants calling for their independence and right to self-determination. Najah Tayyar with the full story.
As part of its continuous efforts to promote the Rif cause and defend the right of the Rif people to freedom and self-determination, the Rif National Party held a key stop in Algiers. The high-level international conference held on this occasion marked a turning point, signaling that the reef question has moved beyond a local or fringe issue. It now holds a prominent place on the global stage, driven by growing support from political, media and intellectual figures, despite the ongoing efforts by the Mahsen regime to silence the movement. Breaking the silence is a legitimate duty for the Reefans who are fighting for their land and identity. The conference represented a significant milestone for both the Reef National Party and the Reef Observatory for Human Rights. It gathered a wide range of participants from the Algerian and international political parties to prominent jurists, academics, European journalists and many supporters of the Reef cause from across the globe. We stand ready to denounce and expose every violation occurring in the Reef, elsewhere in Morocco, and even in Western Sahara. The massacres, torture, arbitrary detentions, and other crimes which are particularly widespread in the Reef. It is therefore incumbent upon us not to remain indifferent to these atrocities. Through the Free Ali Committee, we became aware of Ali's situation, how even in his cell he was resisting and fighting not only for himself but also for other political prisoners, especially Reefans and Sahrawis. It was through this committee that we began to understand the situation of the Reef and the injustices taking place there. Since then, we have committed ourselves to the cause of justice in the Reef, and we firmly believe that it is up to the Reef people to determine their own fate. As a Spanish journalist, I feel personally concerned by the Reef cause because what the Reef people are experiencing today is largely linked to Spain's colonial history.
As the Communist Party of Swaziland, we fully support and salute the resilience and the resistance of the Reef, of the people of Reef, and also we also support their fight for their liberation, and also call the whole world and also all organizations that are there and the entire working class to stand in solidarity with the people of Reef.
The Reef cause has now entered a new phase marked by a growing recognition on the international stage.
In the Middle East, dozens of Palestinians have been killed with attempting to access food from aid distribution points. At one such site, Zionist forces were seen pepper spraying starving civilians, intensifying outrage over the dire humanitarian conditions. As the Zionist entity continues its blockade and bombardment of Gaza, severely restricting the flow of essential aid. The hashtag Gaza is starving has gone viral across social media platforms, with thousands using it to highlight the escalating hunger crisis and demand urgent international action. With that, we end tonight's bulletin. Thank you so much for joining us. Take care.